I have a complaint about the Corsair MP600 Pro XT 2TB non-volatile memory express SSD card. I complained to Corsair and they want me to send back my SSD by paying for my own shipping to their warehouse. And they've made an RMA for the return. However, I can't access my files, and until I figure that out, I'm not sending it in just yet. Let me tell you how my 1 year and 3-month relationship with this Corsair MP600 Pro XT came to a crashing end. Pun intended. It was a normal day for me. I was on my computer transferring my video files from my phone and camera to my D drive, which is a mechanical drive with no boot drive or operating system. On the D drive, I basically just archived my data, and I used my C drive, which is the Corsair SSD, for the operating system, the boot drive, and all of my software. I loved my Corsair MP600 Pro XT since the day I installed it. I made a custom build. Leave a comment if I should show me making my custom build, but it worked as it should. I never had any problems. It was always speedy. It did what it was supposed to do, work seamlessly to the point where you just forget it's even there. Then on this day, as I was just transferring video files from my SD card and phone to my D drive, I get a blue screen of death, and I'll insert the picture here. So because I never had a blue screen crash, if anything, on occasion, if I'm editing or using some type of software, my PC would just randomly restart without warning. I just chalked it up to Windows and their buggy user experience. I just thought I would restart my computer and continue with my video transfer. But I was wrong. This was the last time I got to use my Corsair MP600 Pro XT. I tried troubleshooting, diving down the trenches of archived complaints in the universe and the interwebs of blue screen crashes and BIOS looping. So I did what I could, which was update my BIOS, search for boot drives, change the SSD slot on my motherboard, but nothing would get the drive detected again on the list of BIOS boot drives. So eventually I thought perhaps it's a bug with the operating system. I would have to make a bootable USB drive go in the computer and perhaps connect the SSD with an external SSD to USB adapter. That didn't work either. My PC could no longer detect the SSD at all. I even put myself through the hassle of boot camping my Mac and plugging in the SSD with the adapter via USB. Even on the Mac with Windows, it wouldn't detect the SSD. I double checked on Mac OS and Windows and even plugged it in on my laptop. The light would illuminate showing that the USB adapter had power via USB, but all 3 computers would not detect the Corsair MP600 Pro XT. So being irate and out of desperation, I got a new SATA mechanical hard drive to put in my computer so I can use the bootable USB drive and install Windows on it so I could at least operate my computer and access my information. Now, if there's someone out there in the universe suggesting I could have just used the bootable drive to install Windows on my D drive, my response to that is, would you install an operating system with a reputation of having bugs, glitches, and crashes on the only drive with irreplaceable data and trust it with the memories of your whole life? My answer is no. So I had to get another drive at an affordable price, around $56-ish at the time. And I had to get it immediately and install the OS so I can see if on a new drive, maybe the operating system of motherboard would recognize this problematic Corsair MP600 XT Pro. Even after I installed Windows successfully on the new hard drive, the SSD was still a paperweight. Now, by the time I achieved the success of having an operable Windows computer, this was on a Saturday, and I really wanted to offload the video footage from my SD card and phone to free up space and get started on editing the footage. Now, I was not prepared to experience the torture of running an operating system on a mechanical hard drive. Everything from loading the computer to loading web pages to loading programs, and even file transfers took forever. And when I mean forever, I mean anywhere from 14 to 29 minutes for transfers of just a few gigabytes. I even tortured myself and tried to edit videos with the mechanical drive and render just simple things. And let me tell you, I am not editing a Michael Bay movie, and it took long, sometimes 29 to 40 minutes. I was ready just to pull my hair out. It was like I took a time machine back to 1998 and tried to do my normal computing activities on the desktop from back then. All during this time, I made a service ticket with Corsair, explained my issue, and received an automated message that someone would get back to me. It took around 3 to 4 business days for them to verify my contact information, and another day for them to finalize the RMA and request for me, the customer, with a warranty to pay for shipping back to their warehouse. So because I was still in the middle of my agonizing first world nightmare and about to punch my monitor in the screen and throw the computer out the window, I got desperate and sold my kidney and a few pints of blood for an SSD replacement. Just joking. But I could no longer take my new build computer from this century, in fact only a little over a year old, with the latest and greatest parts, taking forever and a day to load a site like it was on American online DSL dial-up. So after a few hours of research, I decided I would get a new SSD, and not another Corsair, but a Samsung 990 Pro with 2 terabytes. It was shipped the same day by Amazon and literally saved the whole weekend. So I immediately installed it into the motherboard, downloaded Macrium Reflect, and cloned my mechanical hard drive to the new Samsung 990 Pro. It was super easy. I just got the clone started, went to get a snack, and I watched an episode of some show, came back, and the clone was complete. If you want to see how I did the clone, comment below, and I will put the link in the description below to the video. Anyways, just for kicks and giggles, if you also want to see a speed comparison between the mechanical drive and the Samsung 990 Pro, I'll show you guys that as well. But anyways, with the Samsung 990 Pro, I finally had the computer I had known for a little over a year back. Except, like a recovering relationship with issues, I had to focus a little on repairing the relationship, which meant doing a little extra work, like finding the same software I used and spending a couple hours reinstalling them. I also had to re-customize settings to my liking and prepare for the worst case scenario again, which meant I had to create a Windows backup drive. I can't believe I didn't have a backup drive already created, especially since I use Time Machine on Mac, but I guess you live and learn. Now, if you're asking why I didn't just immediately replace the broken Corsair MP600 Pro XT with the Samsung 990 Pro so I wouldn't have to clone the mechanical hard drive, my response to that is the Corsair MP600 Pro put me through so much trauma, being my first M2 SSD, that I completely lost trust in all SSDs, and I didn't want to have to go through that experience again. I thought I would just use a good old mechanical drive and get my C drive replaced for a more affordable price. I just wasn't prepared to witness how slow the mechanical drives are in actuality, operating programs and moving files around. It really almost isn't feasible. Even in 1998, I remember being frustrated as a kid with the wait times for things to load. So honestly, the Corsair MP600 Pro ruined my experience with SSDs so much that if it weren't for the slow speeds on the mechanical drive, I would never use SSDs ever again. It wasn't until after I had gone through this over the weekend that Corsair finally got back to me and made me the RMA for the return, maybe by the next Thursday. So by then, I had everything running that I needed and was living my new life with the Samsung 990 Pro. Now the bone that I have to pick with Corsair is not only the equipment failure, but my responsibility as a customer to pay for the shipping to be mailed across the country for something I didn't want to break and had a bad experience with in the first place. Also, I have not verified with the third-party computer repair shop to see if anything on the drive is recoverable yet, or if I trust sending it back to Corsair without accessing the files myself. What if I have pictures of my behind hole that I forgot about in the folders, you know? Honestly, they should just offer to send a replacement SSD without the return of the old one with proof of purchase or proof it doesn't work via video or video chat. But I guess they don't have the manpower to have real employees troubleshoot via video call, because clearly it took them almost a week to respond to just an email. Anyways, all is well at the moment. The learning lesson for me was to create a Windows backup drive and also have a bootable USB drive at hand in case anything like this happens again. I'm sure there are people with the Corsair MP600 Pro XT that hopefully never had any problems, but for a company with such a well-known brand, I would never think something like this would happen to me, and especially in just over a year. I understand PC components are just never 100% indestructible, and if anything with this Samsung 990 Pro happens, I'll definitely let you know. I just had to get this frustration off my chest and vent. Maybe, I don't know. And if anything with this Samsung 990 Pro happens, I'll definitely let you know. I just had to get this frustration off my chest and vent. But anyways, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and if you've had the same issues or are going through the same thing, hopefully this video helped. Until next time.